Hi, this is Melinda Stahl from EvolvedFarming.com. I'm here at Squibwitch Farms, and today in the Quirky Girl's Kitchen, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite recipes that I make from one of my favorite books that's on our homesteader bookshelf. It's the New Artesian Bread in 5 Minutes a Day. This book has changed my life, and here's an example of the, still tasting it, of the a loaf of bread I made just last night. You can see I've eaten half of it. So I'm not really following my low-carb diet right now. But this recipe is literally 5 minutes a day if you're making bread every day. If you're not making bread every day, it's even less than that. And it's so easy, and it makes such great bread. And one of the things I think is really great about this bread, if you're a homesteader or if you have a farm stand, is this is one of the things that I put out on my farm stand regularly. So I may not always have produce in stock or in season. I may not have a lot of the different things I want to sell on my farm stand available, but I could always make a loaf of bread, and this is so easy. So let me show you, first of all, my friend that I call Hank. This is a double recipe of the dough that's described in this book. So I'm going to tip it so you can see that it's sunk down a little bit. I put this together last night, and you can also see the bubbles on the side of it. So you have bubbles on the side, you have the indent on the top. You don't want to punch this down, it just kind of sinks down on its own. But all those bubbles are from a wet dough that after I just mixed it together with a Dutch mixer, which, in case you haven't seen one, is just this guy. Just this guy, which you can get on Amazon for about $5. You mix it, the dough, which is so basic, so easy, and you make this base dough. And then with this, you can make anything from this loaf of bread I made to roundos, loaves, to biscuits, or not biscuits, but to dinner rolls, just all sorts of types of breads. And all of them are not only good for your family and great to eat, but they're also super nice to put out on your farm stand. So this again is this, we call it Hank, this basic loaf that is discussed in this book on page 53. From which all the other loaves come, all the other types of breads. But you can look in here, and there's just a plethora of options and oh, there's some biscuits, and items available for you to make at your home. Oh my God, chocolate filled, just amazing. And it's so simple and so easy to do. So my favorite book, my favorite bread, I should say, from the New Artesian Bread in 5 Minutes a Day, it's that simple. All right, so I've gotten my mise en place all ready to go. So I've julienned some green onion, I've mandolin some yellow and squash and zucchini, and I've finally sliced some garlic, some red onion, cubed up some butter. This is just dried Italian seasoning, and of course kosher salt, because that makes everything better. And then we have my, wow, really sadly more than a half empty glass of wine again. I'm not sure. Those of you that have been in the Quirky Girl's Kitchen, you know that this happens a lot to me, and I just don't understand. Anyway, moving forward, we are going to take these pans, and I use cast iron because it has a nice heat point, and I think it does a nice job with the bread. So I'm going to throw in some of this butter. These were hot. I put them in the preheated 400-degree oven. So we're going to let the butter melt in here. Here's the smaller one. We're going to let that melt, and then they're going to arrange the onions and vegetables into this cast iron skillet after it has the melted butter. Okay, the butter is melted, so I'm going to move these pans with the melted butter up front here. And now I'm just going to arrange my sliced herbs, I say herbs, my sliced vegetables. Depending on how large a pan you have, you can be very artistic in how you do this. I also just want to mention right here that I love using sliced mushrooms because I think they're so beautiful and it makes really fun, artistic look to the whole piece. I didn't have any mushrooms today, so that's why I didn't use them, but they really do add a lot. This doesn't matter how you do it. There's no wrong way. And again, these are all relatively thinly sliced because I want them to cook easily and like blend into the crust of the bread that we're baking. Garlic. Everything is better with garlic because, as most of you know, that's how God says that she loves us. Squash and zucchini. Just want to add in here that I love all squash. I love pumpkin. I love butternut squash. I love acorn squash. I love summer squash like zucchini and yellow squash. I love all squash. I eat it. I feed it to my dogs regularly. I feed it to my chickens. I just love it. And pumpkin, yes, I love pumpkin. I love pumpkin spice. I love pumpkin not spice. I love all things pumpkin. Pumpkin is one of the things that I will like add into winter soups. A can of pumpkin or canned pumpkin just adds such a nice layer to a winter soup. This is kosher salt. All right. So now that this is done, I will set these pans aside and I will get the dough ready. I don't know how this keeps happening to me. All right, so it's time to assemble the dough. I'm going to put a little olive oil on my hands. I'm going to reach into my Hank mother dough. I'm going to pull out about a pound, which I think of as the size of a grapefruit. Oh boy, this one's torn. So this is going to be for my smaller pan. I'm going to add some flour into this, and I'm going to incorporate some of the Italian herbs. So I'm just going to roll it, stretch it. A little more flour to it. I don't really want to knock down all of the bubbles that were in it originally. And I'm going to take this nice little bun, I'm going to set it into this pan. It's going to slowly kind of flow out over the pan and cover the vegetables that we put in there earlier. Now, for the larger cast iron skillet, the 7 or 8 inch cast iron skillet, I'm going to take a larger chunk of dough. I'm going to set my pan back here. And again, I should have put olive oil on my hands. It's never too late. Add a little olive oil. And I'm rolling it. So you can see I'm rolling it towards the inside. And so I'm stretching this. Now the gluten that comes into this bread, since this is basically a no-knead recipe, comes from it sitting in a wet state in that bin over there where it gets nice bubbles going. And then it comes from having this nice stretch that you do as you roll it inside. I'm going to add a little more herbs here. Roll it a little more. and then I'm going to set it in this pan. Now if you look down into the pan, you'll see the vegetables around the outside. It's not perfect, but it's going to slowly kind of relax outward more as it rises. So we're going to let this rest for another 20 minutes or so, and we'll take a photo of it so you can see what it looks like then. It's going to be a little bit wider. It's going to relax out and taller. Then we're going to slash the top of it, and we're going to put it into a 400-degree oven. And I'm going to check it after 20 minutes of baking, and I'm going to assume it's going to go about 30. All right, so I got inspired, and I made a third loaf here. But these loaves in the cast iron, I'm going to go ahead and score them with a very sharp serrated knife. So a quick cut. Didn't look deep enough. You have the scoring here. And you can see that it's completely covered all of the vegetables around the edges. Let me show you the other one. Again, it's kind of softened out all the way to the rim, and it's risen up. This is one that I will be putting on a piece of parchment, on a cast iron or on a stone in the oven. So all three of these will bake together. I'm going to put them in a 400-degree convection oven for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to check them at the end of 30 minutes by tapping on them and listening for the hollow sound. The oven, again, is a convection oven, so if it was not a convection oven, it might be more like 425. It really kind of depends on the oven. So I just watch for it to brown, and then I listen for the hollow sound. It's not very high tech, I know. Thanks. All right, it sounds pretty good. Hear it? The tap. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to put this back in the oven since it's hot and get the second one out. Oh, this is so cute. Look at this. Look how cute this is. So, as you can hopefully see, the vegetables are cooked into the bottom crust. Now, it's not brown and crispy. We could probably let it go longer if we wanted to. But the idea is that you have this brown, the vegetables cooked into the crust, which we have, and then the Italian seasoning is woven into the bread itself. So we're going to let it cool upside down so that the bottom doesn't get soggy. No one wants a soggy bottom. But can you see the top, how cute it is? And the bottom? It's really quite adorable. All right, so again, we just want to talk about this recipe. Now, this is not focaccia bread. I think I said focaccia earlier, and clearly, look at the bias there. This is not focaccia. But this is a delicious pesto-type bread that we got that I used the base recipe out of this book from our bookshelf, our homesteading bookshelf. Again, it's called The New Artesian Bread in 5 Minutes a Day. I keep this bread going in my refrigerator and in front of my refrigerators for like ever. This stuff is great. And if you make up new recipes every week but leave a little bit of the old one in there, you get basically a nice sourdough going on. So it's kind of a half sourdough, half fresh dough, and it's just delicious. You can use it for everything. Pizza crusts, loaf bread, sandwich bread, it's just amazing. So I encourage you to try this out. It's just a great recipe. Thanks.